want to change gears for the final part of this and talk to you a little bit about some of the things that have been happening. The Roy Moore situation. You have said that you think Roy Moore, the Alabama Republican candidate for Senate, should step aside. That if he does end up getting elected, he probably will be asked to vacate the office in a short period of time. He won't be there long.
Yeah, he won't serve in the United States Senate for long.
So, but here's my question about that.
Point?
If the people of Alabama decide to vote Roy Moore into office, why shouldn't the people's wishes be adhered to?
Well, they will, because he'll be sworn in, but then Senate as a body has the latitude to determine whether or not they're going to allow somebody to serve. And based on the allegations, which seem incredibly credible, and based on the conversations I'm hearing, I don't believe he would stay in the Senate. I think he'd be expelled. So he needs to understand that he should respect the wishes of the folks in Alabama that really do want a Republican senator. You know, Jeff Sessions, I think when he ran last time in Alabama, he was unopposed. So the fact that Judge Roy Moore is going to be such a close election, may not even win, he really ought to take that to heart and be a patriot and step aside and allow the voters of Wisconsin or of Alabama to have a Republican senator rather than Democrat, because they don't want a Democrat senator.
The latest name in the news is Al Franken, senator from Minnesota, Democrat. What should happen to Al Franken?
Well, they'll
resign?
They'll do an ethics investigation. You know, from my standpoint, I just hate to see how prevalent this reprehensible behavior is, but on the other hand, I'm glad it's coming to light so that men understand the harm they do to women when they act in this way. This causes long-term damage over decades. So I really do hope that men take it to heart that they need to act like gentlemen and don't engage in this kind of activity.
One of the things that you hear, be my final question on this, one of the things you hear is that people like yourself seem to find credibility in the claims being made by the women who have come forth. And yet they you hear some Democrats say, well, why don't they find the same credibility in women who said things about Donald Trump and said he did things? How do you explain that?
Or Bill Clinton? Listen, there's all kinds of hypocrisy, all kinds of double standards. You kind of take these things one at a time, but you know, from my standpoint, I just find all that behavior reprehensible, and people like that shouldn't even be involved in public policy or public office.
Senator Ron Johnson, the Republican from Oshkosh. Good to have you back on the program today.
Have a great day.
Thanks very much.